really close. The only thing that scares me about this map set is that there's a whole bunch of maps that they have yet to play for both sides. But even in the middle too, with both of those high rises, OpTic Texas haven't played high rise in both S&D and Control in about 2 months. So this is a test out series for OpTic Texas. And obviously, if you're Atlanta FaZe, you're trying to stay flawless and make it 6-0 in the season.
And on top of that, the issues get kind of compounded here in certain ways, for OpTic Texas. Yeah, it has been a little bit of a weird start for them in a lot of series where they really haven't, I would say, like, break the mold, but they don't come out as hot as you maybe would expect them to in some matchups that you wouldn't expect them to kind of overperform on. And on the flip side, Atlanta, whenever they get a new map, they are one of the best teams at always approaching brand new maps into the pool. That's happened this year. They've never lost to Rio, happened in years previous. And you would have to think that with 6-star and Vista in the mix, they've put a lot of attention towards it. But maybe a chance for the Green Wall to surprise, get a clutch map #1 win here on one of our brand new maps.
Yeah, you need to get a clutch map #1 because I feel like every time I watch OpTic Texas, if they walk away with a map 1 victory, it's about an 80% chance, even better, to walk away with this series. So unfortunately versus Atlanta FaZe is sitting at 1-4. You had to try to turn the tides here. As we get early in towards the P1, it was Atlanta FaZe that started off with all the nades, all the attacks over the top. But at least OpTic Texas still try to contest it, but maintaining the spawns for that second hill.
Looking decent, at least to this point. Essentially 50-50 battle over the top of the first hard point. This is when the motion starts to happen, though. It's a 3-for-1 exchange. OpTic still get a couple of spawns down low, but it's going to be a long run to get back over here. Nabeezy's already guarding this outer staircase area. Now right into the palm tree. Help already here by Simp. And you want to talk about not just the Celium index. Simp versus OpTic is just another monster.
Dude, he's averaging a 1.2 in all 5 matchups they have played so far. That is an insane number. If he's not one of the best, he's probably the best current player in the game. And on the opposing side for OpTic Texas has been Dashy and Shotzi, both averaging a 0.8 in this matchup. You need those guys to step up, and unfortunately, the break is not going to be here. So Atlanta FaZe, they just watched LAT put the beat down on Vegas on this last map, and they're trying to do the same exact thing. Only 30 seconds remaining at this P2. You win these next set of fights, you can easily win that rotation over towards next, but OpTic with the bodies able to find a couple kills, keep the scrap time going in their favor, and already have a player off the rotation.
Critical early moment in this map, being able to hold off this scrap time and keep Atlanta's rotation towards 3 at least somewhat at bay. But clean follow-up from FaZe off their respawn. Now the motion across the halfway point of the map. Shotzi guarding mid, Pred staying deep over towards the sky bridge, and then it'll be Kenny and Dashy just at long range waiting to make contact front side pool bar.
Yeah, now you just have to withstand where the pressure's coming in from Atlanta. You have players approaching the back end, players approaching the front as well, so they find the initiative fights, and they make that break look easy. Already able to flip the spawns. That's 10 seconds into the hill. They're able to lead to the break, but they haven't accounted for Pred. He's able to find a double through lobby, and OpTic Texas right back in.
Yeah, great recovery moment there from the SMGs for OpTic. Still, without the spawns, will be hard-pressed, you'd think, to hold on from the front of this hill, but decent nades coming through. Trades are still also working out for OpTic. Dashy, has to sacrifice his life, could not get quite back up to get involved, and with that, Atlanta will have the numbers, have the spawns, and with that, break for the scrap.
Yeah, final 20 is going to be theirs, but at least if you're OpTic Texas, you're going over towards this P4 where it could potentially be a full 60. We know how difficult it is for Atlanta or any team to try to break right through the front end, so you have to try to hit a route and work your way around behind. And that's what Draza and Simp are going to be doing, slowly working their way back behind enemy lines. Pred going to be the sole man holding down this position.
Key 1v1 here. Draza caught looking the wrong direction. Almost the turn from Pred. Not quite there, but the follow-up from Shotzi is good. And okay, the SMGs for OpTic really starting to light things up when it matters most. Kenny getting a little bit further forward, but caught from behind. Now Atlanta with numbers looking to break from the front.
Yeah, you have to use your attacks, though, because you know all of OpTic know exactly where the pressure's coming in. You got to eliminate these trophy systems. They're able to use attacks at least now to make this a little bit more scrappy, but OpTic Texas still spawning on the preferred side. They have those back spawns, and with only 25 seconds left, Atlanta are now forced. If you're going to attack this or hit that rotation, they have the bodies. They're just not trading effectively, and OpTic Texas with the perfect response to get back into this game.
Yeah, really clean exchange over the top of securities. And now back over towards the middle of the map we go. Kenny, long route out towards the pool, and Nabeezy does not see him, so first blood good on this rotation. The rest of Atlanta just trying to hold some sort of a front line here. Simp in particular right in front of the palm tree, and how does he get 2? Not quite able to slip away, but damage has been dealt, and Atlanta's the first one to step foot inside the pool.
And this is the hill I'm most excited to see between these two teams, because these underwater fights are going to be insane. We know what Shotzi's able to do with his movement, but He's able to at least relieve some of that pressure from Atlanta FaZe and make the break come in for the team. A team nade over the top. All of Atlanta FaZe wanting over towards P3 side. OpTic Texas are going to be able to take the lead, but for how long? Because you already have a player in the BZ going on a pinch.
Yeah, but Dashy's kind of watching to make sure no one can freely get into the hard point, but the pinch from a BZ comes through perfectly timed. Draza follows up to keep him safe, and that'll be likely the lead to Atlanta, and also the scrap time as OpTic is defaulting for rotation.
I don't know what it is with these two new maps, but there's always a photo finish besides the LAT one.
Yeah.
Always back and forth between all these teams. Obviously, it's only been 1 week that these maps have been in, so you're still trying to learn everything that you possibly can. But off we go to the second half of this game. OpTic going to be the team initially to start off with this P1 time. You have Kenny watching the overextension to statue. He can't win the one-on-one, so here's another opportunity for Atlanta to open up a lane through the right side.
I mean, what is it with Simp versus this Green Wall squad this year? He has been undeniable. Abizi, 10 and 12, looking to try to find a way to contest. Clean shots towards Kenny, but the response is better. Still, tie game. Sells looking for contact. Able to find Kenny with the Semtex. Doesn't expect the second throw into Pred, who is one of the last OpTic members remaining. And he's going to go over towards the DJ booth, spin up a couple of tracks, and does well to at least distract Atlanta for a while, but it's not enough to flip the hill, and Atlanta's in for like the last 20.
Yeah, the last 20 is potentially going to be theirs, but at least you still have a couple players trying to contest this. But OpTic Texas more focused on just maintaining the spawns for the next hill. You can give up this final 15 to Atlanta if you decide to, but you're going to contest it all the way to the very end. You're making it scrappy through the middle of the map, but you are relieving that pressure at the next hill, while OpTic Texas now have an opportunity to get fully set up.
Have to hold this rotation if you're OpTic. Just get something trending your direction, because to this point, it's mostly been recovering, finding ways to re-break. Can they put some convincing control here at the palm tree? Abizi tries to make a play around the back. Not going to work out. Is there space and time for Simp? No, not going to happen. It's only Draza with a couple of kills, but his route will move OpTic spawns back to the front.
Yeah, OpTic at least now know where the pressure's coming in. So Dashy's just going to take it into his own hands. Able to find a double, sitting at 20 and 12. OpTic Texas are able to take the lead.
And a chance with them looking at this back 30 pretty nicely. And with the gun starting to really heat up, perfect time to see how OpTic are coming with an OpTic gaming listening.
More. You're 1 HP. There's 12.
Make sure we win there, brother.
On the right side.
I needed it. He's back.
I'm gonna play the right.
I should be outer. I'm posting AJ.
Yeah, I'm playing the right. It could be white. I have long.
Can you get some, Ken? No, I can't get it. I'm backing up, bro. I'm backing up.
Be
outer, bro. I'll get some. I'm middle. Oh, yeah.
I'm holding one.
I'll play the top.
One middle. Alright, listen. One middle, doesn't get on middle. 50 back dead.
I'm holding mid. In front of me, empty. I'm holding mid. I got native with a trophy.
Get time.
I'm holding mid too.
What do you guys want?
I'll get white.
What's up time?
I'm in.
He's hop up. He's on the hop up.
Mid.
I got long.
I'm challenging
Outer.
Let's go mid. He might have been right. That's him.
He's literally front.
Here.
What's for P2?
I
didn't wait in a second, Ken.
Front, sit, front.
Go.
I'm
Out in front.
posting.
Nice, full.
I got time.
Push it on mid, full.
Guarantee the time.
Guarantee time.
I'm getting out of
You gotta guarantee.
I'm all out.
Right up, so 1 HP. I'm 1 HP.
Push.
I'm on good term, mid.
I'm new. Yeah. Keep going. Take him in.
Yeah, we should push
P2, right?
Let's push it to the front.
I can I cruise this? Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
We should go on the back there.
We know it's good.
Actually, I think could be that.
OpTic cooking, but Atlanta on rotation as we swap over to a FaZe listening.
I'm getting the white. I'm getting the white too. Martin crossing. Dog was guilty.
In the pitching, guys. The back. One shot in the back.
Hop up.
Cats up. So top white.
Top right.
Our team top white. Kenny,
I mean that.
Nice.
Off.
No, one top. One shot. See, top on you. Nice. She look on me.
IV.
Nice, good time.
IV fierce, guaranteed. Hold up.
I hear him say.
IV fierce. Whole bench.
We're rotating you too.
IV fierce.
We're pitching.
Let's play for that guy.
He rode.
We didn't flip either.
I'm on the deep, Jack.
Here.
I'll see the enemy. It's Fred.
I'm gonna go open, okay?
But Brandon, our team in.
I think so.
One's wood or one's lights. And then there's like.
One shot.
Lights? That's not P3 in time. I'm going open.
I'm trying to.
Yeah, try to slide.
I'm starting.
I'll team crit.
And T. One jump down, Chris. And take a point.
Outer jump down, Brandon. Outer right, weak. Outer wooden point.
In the water.
And
the water.
Yeah, in the water. Oh, this is our left.
How many iron ups? How many iron ups?
Stairs. Yeah.
I'm
Alright, I'm trying to stun in.
I got
Nice. Our curve, Kenny.
You.
He's in the water behind me. He's in our side water.
Our side water.
Our curve, one shot.
Hey,
How many mid? I'm on 5.
I already went our side level.
I'm sitting mid. Just slow play.
RP2.
Open Brandon.
Listen, he's close right. Close right.
Open Brandon. Watch our pinch. Nice.
Warren bolster. Challenge.
Hold time and then pinch.
I pinch.
I'm thinking
I spawned out, guys. I flipped.
Oh, what a great string of hills from OpTic. And Shotzi's pretty much turned into Aquaman. The guy's got skills. He's sitting at the bottom of the pool forever, and Atlanta just could not keep track of him. Also important to note, Dashy is frying 30 and 20.
Yeah, Dashy's taking over, but Shotzi, like you said, is Aquaman. He's okay with drowning in that P5, but they were able to hold down that P5 flawlessly. Tony now need 20 points to close out game number 1. But if you are Atlanta FaZe, this is where they start to hit a different level. In these closing moments, they always have that clutch gene, but you have to find a couple kills, and OpTic Texas are finding everyone in the feed.
Yeah, absolutely perfectly set up over the top of this bar. Just don't scam it. You should walk away with map 1 win, I think is probably what the comm should be, but the SMGs for Atlanta coming up right when they're needed most. Kenny not able to find the double, and hold on a second. We've got a rotation likely underway here as OpTic is trying to play the long route through pool. And this time it's Synth the Aquaman under the bottom of the pool, but it doesn't make a difference. The kills are good. And now OpTic have themselves set up for what will likely be spawns. It's just selling them in their way. And if they find this kill, they likely walk away with the map 1 win. Don't even need it, apparently.
Yeah, that's going to be the game, man. OpTic Texas coming out and turning the page on game 1s versus Atlanta FaZe. That's now 2-4 on the season. But on the back of Dashy, who just started to take over at that P3. He goes on a 7 spree, earns himself a cruise missile, able to keep P4 a little bit scrappy. But then when you get over towards P5, it's the routes through the water side. Shotzi getting it done with the Renetti. And OpTic Texas come out and make some special plays in game number 1 to secure map 1.
At a certain point, we're gonna need to start like superimposing like a hold your breath counter for P5, dude. I mean, legitimately, Shotzi was at the bottom of the pool what felt like for 30 seconds. Unreal stuff. But yeah, I think a lot of that came down to their adjustments on P3 in particular. I mean, the quick break, the first rotation while we were there from Atlanta was definitely one of those moments that I think you look back on if you're OpTic to say, okay, that's just inexcusable. We have the perfect setup. How are we letting them just walk behind us like this? And then the second time we're there, it's absolutely polished. There's a moment of maybe confusion in the comms of like, hey, what are we looking? But as soon as they get it figured out, much better the second time around.
And you'd love to see that if you are a Green Wall fan, because OpTic Texas, they have struggled versus Atlanta when you talk about hard points, especially in those final moments. When it comes down to the clutch factor at the end of the game, it's usually when the opposites start to crumble and Atlanta FaZe just hit a whole different level. But they were able to equalize them the entirety of the map. And even in those final moments, Dashy stepped up, Shotzi with the water routes, even Kenny with a couple double kills around the map. Able to secure the map number 1, and you're feeling good. New map, already 1-0 versus Atlanta FaZe. That's how you start.
Yeah, well played for both teams, if we're being honest. And yeah, I mean, outside of a couple of messy moments here and there, because let's be honest, this play here from Shotzi is ridiculous. But it's just like what we're starting to see trend-wise on this map. I mean, it's a little bit of a stark comparison to our most recent series when we saw LA Thieves just put the beat down on. But it's one of those things that the team that gets themselves rewarded with the rotation, it's kind of like a sub base. There's no excuses. I mean, it's very clear what your setup needs to look like and how you can capitalize on the efficiency that comes through. And that's why we're seeing these very back and forth trends in a very tight game from start to finish.
And that's what makes a good hardpoint map. We're talking about responding after certain hills. You might get full 60 on one hill, but if you've set up properly out for the rotation over towards the next, you can respond with a full 60 of your own. And that's what OpTic Texas were able to do. Always stay ahead of the game. Even when you allowed Atlanta FaZe to get back into the game at P2. You dominate P3. Even though they got back into it at P4, you make up for it at P5. It was just a mirror effect between both of the squads on which hill they wanted to dominate, and they always were able to have a response.
Big time. So, great opening map for this, what we often classify as the classic Call of Duty history matchup, but like we've already seen in all the statistics, it has been very one-sided in this title. 5-0, 16-5 map count favoring Atlanta FaZe, but a key first map, and now the question marks start to pop up.
Yeah.
Because double dose of high rise, OpTic has not been great here, and they also haven't played it very much just on the season. And then also the real hard point, if we were to get there, it's one of Atlanta's bread and butter since it was entered into the map pool. So it's a tough stretch of maps coming up right here for OpTic, and I think if you're the green wall, you just want to see improvements, especially on these two high rises back to back.
Oh yeah, without question. I know it might be a couple of tough maps, especially versus a team like Atlanta FaZe, who love themselves some high-rise S&D, who love themselves some high-rise control, and as you said, they love themselves some Rio. But that's sometimes the best practice you can get when you're playing the best team on it, and in a match that's very important. It's not practice. You can go out there and win the match in practice, but you can win it in an actual match versus a team who's had your number all season long. That's where the confidence gets shot through the roof. So even though OpTic Texas is 0-3 so far on high-rise search and destroy, they struggle at finding first blood. They struggle at also, even when they find the first blood, converting into a round win. So I think versus a team like Atlanta FaZe, you can definitely work on both of those categories.
Agreed. So lots of polish that we're expecting from one side and just general show of force from the other. As you look at the search and destroy from the side of Atlanta, who during the major looked incredible, save just one map loss really when they played up against OpTic. Everything else was pretty much perfect against teams like New York, teams like Thieves in their opener. It's just one of those, it's like we often say, search and destroy wins championships, and they have really polished it up through major 2.
And now you're forced to win this high-rise search and destroy, where you have a couple more reps compared to OpTic Texas. Haven't played this map in 2 months, but that's a beautiful picture of a cat and a plant sitting right next to it. As Atlanta are going to be the team early on the attacking side. No trophy systems to work with, but look at how aggressive OpTic are, more specifically Shotzzy, already in the spawn.
And this should be a freebie for sure. Cell's going to be completely caught off guard by this. It's just a question of, can Simp provide the trade in time? And oh, the trigger discipline is perfect. Simp tries to avoid it, but it's inevitable. 2 for Shotzzy, and with that, the round has just completely gone awry for Atlanta.
Yeah, that one's done and dusted. First 15 seconds into the round, he's already bottom pit working behind enemy lines, and he's able to use the trigger discipline to the full effect. So he finds a double to start that one off, but okay, OpTic Texas, I see you. That's some new strategies already on display.
And how much of that do you think is just a pure out counter? Because whenever we see Atlanta play this map, it's often in round 1 of their offense, a double hit down blue in towards that pit connector. But this time, it's just, I don't even care about taking that gunfight. I'm just going to run right through the outer lanes, get behind, and it works out perfectly. So maybe a little bit of counter shredding done there by OpTic.
Yeah, I don't really think it's counter, though. I think it's just more the confidence on Shotzzy, because we saw him on maps like Karachi, first 15 seconds, he's getting behind enemy lines. When he finds an opening, he's going to take full advantage of it, and he finds one there to secure the round.
Oh, and here we go again. Shotzzy already forward over towards A. Stun checks him out. Doesn't make a difference. Avoids the majority of the gunfight versus Abizi. And that leads to a smoke, giving him a little bit of extra cover. Selling him backside windows can really not do much here. And maybe you look to Draza. He may have to like pop up and find somebody backside blue to even get this defense going. And Shotzzy continues to keep the throttle down. 4-0 start.
Another 4v2 instantly on the back of Shotzzy. Left up to Simp and Draza. Simp is able to take down one, but now it's Draza left in the 1v3. Bomb is yet to be planted, but positioning now known. And OpTic Texas, 2 really quick rounds to start off this high-rise search and destroy. More on just the confident plays coming out of Shotzzy. You hit routes like that to start it off, there's no way in hell Atlanta FaZe is going to be able to get a read on it. 2-0, OpTic Texas.
And this is going to play a lot of mind games here with Atlanta. I mean, when you come out like this and get your subs not just forward, but around you, challenging your ARs that are in spawn, what do you put together as a response here for your Atlanta? It's almost one of those, like, you either have to have everyone commit to playing passive or everyone to commit to playing forward. You just don't want to stay in the gray area with OpTics running at you like this.
Just gotta read on Shotzzy. You have to find a read on what he's doing, because he's making play after play, and unfortunately the team fire from Celium takes down Sim. So already the man advantage for OpTic Texas. They find themselves on a 8-team streak, make it 9 before Draza does take down Kenny, but now it's a 2v3.
Oh, maybe a little bit of overheating here though from OpTic, getting caught just a touch in what was a 4v2. Now down to the 2v2, and Draza continues to collect. So now it's just on to Shotzzy for the 1v2 situation. Good read onto Abizi, but it's mutual. And wow, the shots response from Abizi works out great, and maybe a missed round opportunity right there after the unfortunate team kill from Atlanta.
It's definitely a missed round right there out of OpTic, because you get a free first blood on the back of Celium, and then you also put yourself in the 3v2 advantage over towards B Street, but you cannot locate where Abizi is. You cannot locate where Draza was. able to clutch up into 2v3 to finally put Atlanta FaZe on the board. But with those trophy systems, you saw that they were able to slow down Shotzzy off of that playmaking ability. So now on the defensive end, just got to make sure we're watching our cuts, because Shotzzy, the way that he's playing right now, he looks like he's simply just not going to slow down.
Yeah, facts. Lots of nades thrown by OpTic over towards the left side of the map. Doesn't appear that much of it, or any of it, may have hit. And Shotzzy will just get to work on the ladder immediately. Sip on the pipes. Looking to play the pop-up defense over towards B. Just comes down to, will there be enough cues for him to check this, as OpTic look pretty convinced that they want to play over towards B.
How does he even make that happen? Thought he was dead to rights in the pre-aim of Celium, but he somehow, some way is able to walk away with at least one kill. Keeps his team in the man advantage until Draza is able to take down Pred. So a 2v2 with 45 seconds left. OpTic have full B street control. You might just want to go for this bomb plant.
Kenny pushed back as your bomb carrier. Dashy also tagged. So information here from Atlanta's perspective on where these two OpTic attackers are. Does Dashy get a look down to the left on Draza, running up and under him? Not quite enough to keep his teammates safe. So this would give him a 1v2. A BZ. Oh, he's read it so darn well, but the pistol's better from Dashy. Oh, mercy. A steal away round from OpTic.
He's sick and tired of everybody talking about I struggle versus Atlanta FaZe. This guy is just an unbelievable talent. I actually recently just checked out Dashy's settings on YouTube. Just put out a video for all the settings when you talk about the killings. But we got to take a replay again at what shots he was able to do. 48 HP. Somehow, some way, he's able to find a kill. That's just a play that you don't expect anyone to make. No. But he somehow, some way is able to get it done. But back to Dashy. If you guys haven't checked it out and you want to shoot somewhat like Dashy, that's why I was trying to change my gameplay a little bit. He just put out a whole video on the settings, so definitely go check that out.
Working out well so far after the 30 bomb in map 1. Now 5-1 start. This time BZ's not going to be bamboozled by Shotzzy. And, well, surely Ant is dead to rights here, and he will be. Close gunfight, though, to be fair. But early first blood tallied for Atlanta. Now OpTic have to hit the brakes on this defense and hope that someone can collect a kill or two to try to stall out this bomb play.
Yeah, fool me once, you can't get fooled again. They read the play on Shotzzy to find the first blood. Now Atlanta FaZe in the man advantage until Pred is at least able to find Draza and get out with his life. So 3v3 with 45 seconds left. Dashy's trying to at least get some assistance on the B street, but Celium's able to take him down. A BZ with the second. Pred left in a 1v3.
And he's stuck at the moment. Oh, decent rewrap back over the top of the ladder, though. Atlanta may have been convinced that he dropped down into the pit. Yes, Cell still looking down on one side, Simp looking down on the other. And he snuck back in towards mid. Until he isn't. Cell able to track him on the cross back over towards green, and there's no way he exits from there. But boy, I'll tell you, he nearly finessed his way out of a very tricky spot.
Oh yeah, Pred thought that play was going to be a lot quicker. He was not expecting him to play it so slow around that B-bomb site. But that's one thing that Atlanta FaZe do on a map like High Rise. They barely plant the bomb. But when they plant the bomb, 100% on post-plant situations, they're more focused on just making sure that they have both players with their guns up, ready to go, so they can trade efficiently. As Celium was able to locate Pred, secure another round for Atlanta. But that was on the back of just simply shutting down Shotzzy in that first blood.
Yep, absolutely the case. Tight margins here in the search to this point. Offense once again, lots of nades over towards that B alley. This time, though, look at this. Atlanta heavy stack down low. Two players on one side, Simp on the other. But Shotzzy's got a pretty good read of this, and Atlanta's aware of it. They back off, and they're going to need to reset their defense.
Yeah, and now Shotzzy's just going to take a lot of ground because he knows that they have to exit from bottom pit somewhere. He's able to find the first blood, sets up Pred for the second. Now it's instantly in 4v2. You can potentially start working this bomb plant, but who needs a bomb plant when you're shooting like this? All four in the feed. 2 from Pred, 2 from Shotzzy. OpTic, 4-2 now.
That's just a brilliant micro moment to highlight. You get the info and you immediately read and react to it.
Yep.
You know, like you said, 2 players down low. I don't know if they get information that a third is down there, but it doesn't matter. How often do you see 4 players stacked defensively on B, up top or down low? So really good response from Shotzzy, and you call that perfectly. The reaction saying that if they're going to reset, they're going to come right back up these staircases. Easy feeding.
Yeah, that's perfect plays right there at OpTic Texas to use the information that they gained and instantly pounce on it. Now they're back on the defensive end. Simp has a slow start so far in the search and destroy. Looking for him to start to turn up for Atlanta FaZe, but Shotzzy again just going to go back to what worked the first go around, but this time we're not going to go behind enemy lines.
Yeah, small hesitation. He can use this as a quick pinch, and this is going to work out really nicely as Draws is completely caught off towards the elevators. No chance for retreat as of yet, and then Pred pops up through the jump window to find a second. Good response, though, from Atlanta. They're able to collect at least a couple just to make sure this thing gets back to a 2v2. Bomb is also in a very collectible spot, so everything gets reset, and Kenny gets caught topside heli. Now a numbers advantage to FaZe.
Now it's Dashy left in the 1v2. He was at least able to spot Celium, but potentially going to be more focused on potentially shutting down this bomb plant. But Atlanta FaZe again in a situation where they are playing the kill. They are waiting till the final moment before they decide to work that objective, and this might work out perfectly for Dashy because that time is starting to tick.
It just comes down to, does he even check over the top over towards B? Because if they get this planted and they get away, it's a tough retake to go through. But there's the ankle. Nice shots from Dashy. 1v1 with Celium. First shots are good with the follow-up. Maybe a bit hindered by the railing. Cell responds, and a massive bounce back after being down to a 2v3 initially for FaZe.
Oh, that's a big clutch round right there for Atlanta. Shotzzy versus Dash. We always love the AR battles between those two young men. Some of the best shots that we have in Call of Duty, but it's Celium able to get the better of him this time around to keep Atlanta FaZe into this search and destroy. Now down 4-3, and if you are Atlanta, we're definitely not going back to that pit setup. We got to have people over towards the B Street side.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's one of those things that the strange setups, like the unexpected plays, are definitely being more successfully carried out by OpTic than for FaZe at the moment. But this is much more close to what they normally do on a default. Sid playing forward on towards B. Celium watching over him at a pretty aggressive angle just outside the B propane. And Abizi's just checking for tags at mid. He's going to at least contact a couple of players, which is enough to alert the defense over towards the B site. 1-for-1 goes the exchange.
Now into the 3v3. Shotzi's able to find Abizi through low pit. Jaws is able to take down Dashy instantly into a 2v2, but Sip knows I have to get out with my life. You invest that smoke grenade for the repositioning. Now with only 45 seconds left, it's a 2v2. Both teams on complete opposite sides of the map.
Yeah, this is a really tough retake, though, at the moment for Atlanta trying to contest this B site with Simp getting out of there and draws it down low with an AR. Shotzi's going to take a little bit of extra time just to clear out the backside defensive windows. Kenny hasn't seen anything yet, but there are players on the offensive side of the map that could make themselves available to at least being seen. And how about this? Have OpTic gotten a read that Atlanta have played to the offensive side? They sure seem to have. Shotzi's able to tag up Simp a touch, and the bomb's going to get planted at A.
And the biggest thing is if Kenny can get off of the site just in time. No, he cannot. He's able to get taken down before that bomb even gets planted. So, Jazzy, you don't have to do anything. Let's just sit comfortable in this corner. Shotzi's not going to have enough time to work that bomb plant. And even with OpTic Texas finding the first blood, Atlanta FaZe with the mid-round adjustments just simply had to take Kenny off of that A site to secure the round. Atlanta FaZe tie back up at 4.
Yeah. Good bounce back here from Atlanta, considering the first blood battle has largely been in favor of OpTic.
Yeah.
Puts us back into a more level footing here. And now all of a sudden you start to wonder, is there any more trickery up OpTic sleeves? And does Atlanta ever go back to that kind of heavy blue hit that we've often seen them do? This time, not the case. Simp, the bomb carrier, already back over towards propane. Draws a cell working together on this B lane, but OpTic's right here to beat him. This is a very aggressive game of tag, which Kenny comes out as first blood winner.
That's a big team shots from both squads to at least lead to the trade, as Sip was able to take some positioning over towards propane, and he's able to find a double. Abizi on the flank is able to locate Kenny. Now it's instantly a 1v1.
Keep in mind, Simp came out of spawns in MCW here. First couple of shots are decent. Pred wants the battle at 2 HP. Bold to say the least. Now off the regen. Both players back to full HP. Onus onto Simp to what he wants to do. Does he want to play for the kill, play for the plant? Smoke just kind of draws the attention of Pred. And in this moment, Simp gets all the way backside A and is going to try to commit to the plant. Does Pred bother to check this? Doesn't seem to. Also not going to catch him on the exit, Jay. Things reset here, 1v1.
Yeah, this is tough now because you have no info and the bomb's down at A, so where you have so many different angles you can check it from if you are Simp. Where Pred's thinking right now, he has to try to be working behind enemy lines, but you get the info now. How does he decide to play it? He's just going to stick to defuse.
Does Simp check this? Does he have the angle this time around? He gets the 3/4 of the way, and then the shots come through to connect. Pred, it's the right read. It's the right call, but Simp just a little bit too quick on the rewrap, able to find the toes.
You know it's only a matter of moments before Sip comes alive in Search to Destroy. He was sitting at 1-5, now 6-6. Finds himself on 3 or 4 in a row, but a big one-on-one to put his team now at game point in this high-rise Search and Destroy. Clutch up on the attacking side, and now to go back towards defense. And if you are Atlanta FaZe, you just got to stay strong. I would be in the back of my spawn, make sure we're holding down B Street, force OpTic Texas to beat you by putting that bomb down.
Yeah, I like the call. But what do they call to try to get the bomb down? I think it's the bigger question here. Pred Dashy playing over towards the blue side. Abizi looking to get aggressive, steps forward, and I don't think Dashy's seen it. Nope, he hasn't. Pred gets caught looking the opposite direction. And first blood once again collected by Atlanta, and they're going to back off and just play this thing straight up 4v3.
Yeah, this is perfect. You don't want to try to get too overzealous, potentially get picked off, but Sip is able to take down Shotzzy instantly a 4v2. Bomb still slowly working his way up through the B Street, but Dash and Kenny have their hands full with only 15 seconds to try to clutch this one up.
Yeah, it's just Atlanta's ability to find first blood is only part of the problem. Their ability to play down a man is ridiculous.
Yep.
Dashy, maybe the barrel of the gun being seen. Yep, sure seems that way. Abizi finds the kill very quickly as soon as that information was processed. And it's just on to Kenny, who gets some decent shots into one, but no chance for the follow-up. And I mean, give me a break, dude. I mean, we're going to see it in the first blood tally. It's going to be pretty even, but what, 2 different 2v3, 2v4s that Atlanta are able to pull back? And a lot of that maybe just kind of gifted in a certain way because OpTic are playing so stretched, so forwards, that it kind of isolates them just by almost voluntary margins.
Yeah, that's where you have to make the adjustments if you are OpTic Texas. Early on, it was the aggression finding a lot of success. Shotzzy with multiple different routes, finding first blood, and that led to a lot of W's. But then when you get towards the middle half of the game, that's where Atlanta FaZe start making those mid-round adjustments, making sure that they're changing their setups properly and making sure that their teamwork is now on full display as we get into the later half of the S&D. They would just simply outclassic Atlanta FaZe from down 4-2 to win 4 straight to secure the S&D. It just, in my opinion, if Pred just checks that A bomb site and wins the one-on-one, we're definitely going to round number 5. But when you allow him to plant at A, get away with his life for free, and then try to stick the defuse is not the best way to play it versus Atlanta FaZe, because then they're slowly but surely gaining momentum. They're able to win 4 rounds in a row to close out the Search to Destroy, now to tie the series up at 1. But that's a map where OpTic Texas were testing. You never 0-3 on it. Now it makes it 0-4, but at least you gave Atlanta FaZe a fight there on that high rise.
Here's the number, Jay, and buckle up. You're not ready for it.
Okay.
Obviously, the scoreboard's not working, but our boy Easy Mac was tallying it live. 8-2, First Blood's favor OpTic Texas. So you want to talk about, again, those numbers not mattering in the end. That has often been the case, and Atlanta continues to find ways to punish, even though they find themselves down a man early. So 1-1 the map count. High Rise still on the menu for our next course for Control. And then, of course, Rio Hardpoint, map number 4. A tough stretch of maps here based on the history between these two squads. But after map 1 win, OpTic finding ways to try to change the trends and find the way to extend this series. We'll be back after the break.
Upgrade your game with the Scuff, the official controller of the Call of Duty League. The Call of Duty League is brought to you by Monster Energy, the official energy drink of the CDL.
Welcome back. After the unknown map number 1 on 6-star goes the way of OpTic, the more known quantities are starting to play out. The unfortunate part for the green wall, 8-2 in first bloods, a couple of different 2v3s, 2v4s not going their way means that Atlanta will capitalize, sending us to a 1-1 map count and another high-rise control. I'm Shift, that's Study. And well, brother, the news doesn't get any better going for OpTic fans here into map number 3, not only because their record on control versus Atlanta is not the greatest in the world.
Yeah.
This map has also not been particularly strong for them at all.
Oh yeah, OpTic Texas basically didn't play it all throughout stage 2. Last time they played this was all the way into February. They were more focused on playing Karachi, playing Invasion. This is basically their auto veto a majority of the season. But now you know, we're going already in the middle half of the year. We have to try to play a couple maps that we're not really comfortable at. So we can throw a couple curveballs versus some of these top teams. And none other than high-rise control going up against Atlanta FaZe, who are literally the best team at this map, to try to test your practice. But it has to be a focus on defense for OpTic Texas. 11th overall in the league compared to Atlanta FaZe, who are number 1. That's where they have to adjust.
That is by far the biggest nomenclature we could possibly put up together. 2 for 1, the opening exchange. Atlanta already off to the races on B. A BZ. Oh boy. Not what you want as a BZ on your front line like this. It doesn't get any better. Pred's completely dead to rights. Shotzi does at least find some sort of a response. Kind of cauterizes the wound for now, but clock stays paused at 106, and the first tick of progress is looking pretty inevitable.
This is where if you're OpTic Texas, they know there's no trophy systems to work with yet. The gunny's going to be hot, though, so they don't need to use their tax to invest the break in towards B. Just got to now find a trade onto a BZ, but Shotzi's not able to get it done. So the first segment is going to be complete, and a BZ just with the heads-up play to get the segment done and get away with his life is just enough for Atlanta FaZe to still keep map control.
Defense, though, starting to establish itself for OpTic. Shotzi down low, seen at range. Clean shots, though, from a BZ. Simp also following up on the Kenny up top. Here comes the hit for FaZe, trying to get back on towards this B zone. You've got Dashy inside the point, and he's done well to kind of use that tower to his advantage, but still gets flat out overwhelmed. Second tick of progress looking likely. 3-man stack may also mean that this zone is just done and dusted. One more attempt, possibly, but a BZ makes sure no one can contest, and an extra 60 gets tallied for FaZe.
Man, they are putting the beat down right now. That was a very quick, efficient B play. You had players consistently pushing behind enemy lines, just keeping the kill stagnant. And whenever they needed a 2 to 3 dead, they got it done to secure that B point. Now 1:25 on the game clock. All of OpTic Texas more focused on maintaining the map control, and Kenny with that reach pinch up through B Street, at least allow his teammates to work out of their base.
Yeah, really well done. Dashy also makes sure that no one can make moves over towards the blue side of the map. So good stuff here from Texas to reduce the life lead just down to, well, now level. Shotzi on 3 in a row. Has a plethora of weapons, I imagine, to play with, depending on what the situation calls for. And Dashy continues to just lock things down over towards the A side of the map. So this is all about what can Shotzi do in terms of trying to get together a bit of a spawn trap. And he's made his way at least down to bottom pit. A BZ at range also dealt with it. It's Shotzi on 5.
And this is perfect place from OpTic Texas. You can tell that the practice as are working out to perfection. They usually struggle when you talk about the slaying column on the defensive end. But Shotzi finds himself on 7 in a row. Just trying to be the playmaker again for this OpTic squad. Already a cruise missile in the back pocket.
Yikes.
He doesn't plan on slowing down. All the kills in the feed for OpTic. Atlanta FaZe forced to hit the reset in the back of their spawn. And that just might be it. OpTic Texas dominant on this defense.
I mean, at one point, this was a 19-17 in favor of FaZe, and now it's 12-5, and Shotzi is threatening for a double-digit streak. An absolute takeover here on the round 1 defense. Draza just not quite. Doesn't make much of a difference. The cruise missile already earned an OpTic build, a convincing A defense, and a huge life margin lead.
And that's how you get it done, man. You only allowed 3 segments to go to in favor to Atlanta FaZe, but Shotzi just absolutely dominates with his movement, with that MCW in hand. He usually does it with the Rival 9, but this guy is one of the best players in Call of Duty for a reason. Ends on a 10 streak before getting taken down, was potentially trying to break the record, but that's a great defensive round from OpTic Texas. Already showing the adjustments on that side of the map. And now you have a cruise missile to work with. You just have to make up for 3 segments.
Yeah, and again, I just want to re-hit the point that you made earlier about how Shotzi and Dashy against FaZe have, on average, overall KDs of around 0.8.
Yep.
In control, it's worse than that. So to see Dashy at 6 and 3, Shotzi just having a world star map to this point, I'm sure is very refreshing to the green wall. And that's not stopping here. B progress already being made and no kills at all for FaZe. This is looking mighty fine for OpTic.
Yeah, they can't get out of the base. It's very, very difficult, especially when your ARs are not having the best performance. Jaws is sitting at 2 and 12. He cannot figure it out yet. But Shotzi's just picking up where he left off. Unfortunately, can't find that fight onto Celium, but that's already been done and dusted. Finally, Atlanta FaZe are able to get a couple kills to work out of their base. And if you're OpTic Texas, job already done. If you want to secure one more segment, you also have a cruise missile in the back pocket of shots.
Yeah. The thing is, you don't want to get trapped in your spawn here because the same thing can happen to you very quickly, and FaZe are in pretty prime position to potentially put that together. Celium up top by Heli. Oh, unfortunate propane explosion. Takes Pred out of the picture, so now FaZe have numbers and they continue to try to push forward. Nice gunshots from Abizi onto Kenny. Follow up from Sip, not quite fully there, but Atlanta still winning the kill feed. Now they've got a 2-life lead and some good map control.
And this is what makes Atlanta FaZe the best defensive team on this map. You get put into that trap, it's about 20 to 30 seconds before you even have an opportunity to work your way on out. But they are just trading so damn well around Helipad, around B Street, forcing OpTic Texas to use reinforcements on one side of the map more than they want to. And at least Kenny now with the route is going to find an opening through bottom pit. Fred finds the first blood, and this might be an opportunity for OpTic Texas to get on that game, get on that 8 point.
Oh, Simp comes back over through the previously captured B zone and deals with Kenny, but Shotzi's going to sneak around the back again. And Atlanta have no idea that he's making this play. Small moments of hesitation here from FaZe, but they are not going to have the luxury of staying back for too long because here comes Dan from OpTic from the front. Clean kills all across the board. Beezy, last one standing, and he gets dealt with. So the clock will pause at 50 seconds. Shotzi getting what? Shots through walls, kills from what feels like through 5 walls, and Kenny's right there on the cross to make sure Atlanta can't get out of spawn. A convincing moment here for OpTic.
Oh yeah, that's already the second segment going to be done. You better try to hit some nades, some stuns to try to take him off to this point. But Dashy with the beams through the middle of the map is able to find a double. None other than Shotzi to find the third. Shotzi with the double of his own. Finds himself on 5 in a row and again. As that third segment is about to be complete, but even if it's not, 12 to 6 in lives remaining, we could play TDM.
40 seconds on the clock though. Atlanta battling back. Small moment there where Shotzi maybe could have stayed on the zone a little bit longer, maybe finish it off himself, but instead played forward for the kill, and now all of a sudden half of that third tick has been depleted. 10v4, 25 seconds on the clock. Draza still holding on to bottom blue. Does Atlanta still have this in them? Here comes the stack though over towards the point. Shotzi's on for the first. Atlanta need to go. They need to find a way to get them off. Couple back and forths, but the kills are good for FaZe. Now it's just down to only one more member forward. Pred is the last player over towards bottom blue, and he's been seen by Cell. Atlanta continue to find the kills. Have they missed a moment here if you're OpTic? Last chance to try to break your way in, and Atlanta continue to reap at the kill feed. Kenny has to jump off the top. He's not able to, and FaZe is going to hold on to the round.
Oh man, if you're OpTic Texas, you want that one back. You invest the cruise missile. You were outslaying 12 to 6. But when it came down to Atlanta FaZe just clutching up in the fights once they got out of their base, they did not fall short. Draza and Celium with multiple 2 pieces around the map. OpTic Texas just could not find an opening through bottom blue. And Atlanta FaZe able to secure the defensive round. They're down by 2 seconds, but at least you get the cruise missile to get invested. And OpTic Texas are thinking, all right, we're going to be up 2-0, but Atlanta FaZe shut the door on that opportunity. Now we're all tied up at 1. Just got to make up for these segments now if you're Atlanta.
I think there are going to be some OpTic fans that are going to be breaking down every millisecond of that decision from Shotzi to try to push forward where maybe he could have captured. Hard to say one way or the other. Hindsight's a hell of a drug, friends. Don't get caught. First couple of kills here for OpTic's defense. Very clean, very polished. First 3 will fall. Atlanta's really not had good breakoffs in any of these rounds to this point.
They've been getting shut out from OpTic Texas. Over toward the B Street side, even towards Helipad as they find another 3 in the feed. Last player out is going to be Simp, but you can already see OpTic Texas are more focused on just keeping these players in the back of their spawn. Abizi with a great spawn, at least through the underground steps, is able to take down Pred, but still a lot of map control being obtained by OpTic Texas.
Map control is starting to get to that precipice of possible spawn trap conditions. Atlanta trying to teamwork their way out, but just not finding any exits. I mean, Dashy 15 and 9, almost able to collect number 16, just couldn't quite get the regen off. Pred through the middle of the map. Gets shot just a couple of times through mid-map, and that's enough for Draza to help out, find a double, and now Atlanta stacked up, finding the first tick of progress, if not more.
Yeah, first segment already going to be complete, but Shotzzy knows it's at least a double stack on the point, and he just spotted the third player over towards the B street. So when do we decide to attack? And unfortunately, aBeZy was more prepared for that gunfight with that rival 9 in hand. That's already going to be beat out of the way. But if you are OpTic Texas, now you have an opportunity with a lot of map control to keep them in the spawn. But for how long?
Pred, ooh, a little caught here. Tried to chase down a kill with the Renetti. Gets punished. Follow-up elimination from Dashy. Decent, but the trade still allows Atlanta a chance to use blue as an opportunity to set themselves up for an A attack. Trophy system down for Cell. Tagged up through mid-map, but still finds a way to get one kill. It's just not fully enough for the rest of FaZe to follow up on it. So we kind of neutralize the map with the touch. Both teams coming off of spawn, not fully getting trapped up. We have a 17v14 favoring OpTic.
And there's only a minute left on the game clock. So if you are OpTic Texas, just got to continue to hold down your irons, trade efficiently. 2-2 in the feed for both squads. But it's still OpTic Texas in the lives remaining, up by a couple. Pred finding that double at least relieves the pressure on the farthest players pushed out. And now Atlanta FaZe again forced to hit the reset. OpTic just doing a great job of holding down all their lanes.
Yeah, now Shotzzy has the freedom to get forward. And I mean, look at the movement. Nearly slips away. It's enough for at least Kenny to confirm his trade, which is more than enough, to say the least. 12v4. Tick progression is going to heavily favor OpTic as they look to lock up the rest of this defense, and there's really no chance Atlanta does much more damage than maybe a couple of kills here or there. So major advantage for OpTic through 3 rounds. Lots of a call here for Atlanta defensively to really stand tall if they're going to try to even out these tick progression.
Yeah, it needs to be a shutout because right now OpTic Texas are only down by 1 segment, but the adjustments that they have shown so far on this high-rise control has been beautiful. On the defensive side, they were 11th overall in the league. I know it's because they haven't played the map a lot, but they struggled every time that they spawned in on this map, and it was due to the sling ability. They just could not keep up on the defensive side. We're basically put in the trap on the opposing side where you usually do not see. But the plays right now out of Shotzzy, the plays right now out of Dashy, both average a 0.8 versus Atlanta FaZe. They are dominating so far in the respawns.
Yep, absolutely agree. Pred's even picked it up in that last round. Kind of a slow start from him, but on 4 in a row brings him back to about level. Focus towards B alley. Lots of shots connecting for Atlanta, enough to at least get the first. Shotzzy off the regen though. Pred also the long route will create some problems here for Atlanta in spawn, and the FaZe defense is gonna have to kind of figure out and make a decision of what do you want to deal with as Pred gets onto a cruise missile before being dropped, and with a 1 life advantage and a little bit of time ticked off the clock, Atlanta's trying to hopefully counter in their minds to get forward and take away the map.
Yeah, they just want to take away map control. They want to try to put OpTic Texas in the trap as fast as they possibly could because they got to try to play for a shutout round. Do not give up 1 segment to OpTic or they will have that defensive side.
Yeah.
It's now all of OpTic Texas rallying the troops over towards the B Street side, but they cannot find an opening. Shotzzy finally does take down Celium, but it's Atlanta FaZe ready for the trade fights as they find 3 in the feed. All you have to do is take care of Shotzzy, and there's only 25 seconds left. You might have to invest the cruise.
Oh, look at Draws on the other side of the map. He's still finding kills and forcing OpTic to kind of keep their focus at multiple points. aBeZy taken down at range. Shotzi's position is known, but Cell really cannot shell with just 8 HP. 10 seconds on the clock. It's going to have to be Kenny to jump into the zone. Everyone else supporting him from a pretty much long range. And they're finding good support at this moment. First tick of progress being worked on. Cell able to track a couple of the shadows, but it doesn't make a difference. Now the stack is on, and OpTic should be able to get at least 2 ticks here.
Yeah, the second segment is going to guarantee themselves defense just in case it does go to round number 5, but it's still OpTic Texas in the lead of the lives remaining. They're still not slowing down in the slaying department. That's another 3 dead in the feed. You can easily hit that transition over. But with Pred being the player coming off the respawn, that cruise missile is not going to get invested early on. So you have to try to maintain map control before you decide to invest that missile.
It may not be invested at all because now a second gets killed for Shotzzy on another impressive streak. It gets to 7 before he's felled. Pred once again taking the scaffold route. Celium gonna try to check this. Simp at range, almost dealt with before Cell can get there, but the help arrives just in the nick of time, and the lives are back to level. And an unfortunate teammate actually swings that over to FaZe. 12 plays 11.
Yeah, 12 plays 11, and now it's all in the hands of Shotzzy. Unfortunately, he does fall, and all of OpTic Texas forced to now hit the reset in the back of their spawn. And with only 20 seconds left, OpTic Texas already did a job. They already completed the segment. Now you have a cruise missile on the defensive end just to work with in case anything gets a little bit fishy. But you don't want to give Atlanta FaZe a cruise missile here to potentially find a success on the attack.
Yeah, should be 2 in favor of OpTic. 2 cruises they could possibly use here. But like you said, Draza now 1 off. Not going to have a chance to find kill number 6, but coming out of spawn, that's been the problem for Atlanta to this point in this map. Finding a way to even get trades, let alone kills. So we'll see. That could be a key for FaZe to get an extra resource and try to mitigate what's already been built up and kind of stack the deck for this OpTic defense coming up.
I think it all is going to fall into the hands if Draza can earn himself that cruise.
Yep.
Like you said, OpTic Texas have 2 to work with on the defensive side, and just the way that they have been shooting on defense, they have outslayed the hell of Atlanta FaZe on that side of the map. But this round number 5, I feel like every time we watch both of these teams, specifically in control, it always goes to a round 5. And it's usually Atlanta FaZe coming out on top, but OpTic Texas in the heavy advantage to try to put themselves up 2-1 in the series.
Draza is just going to try to play up top and see if he can catch a Beezy's trade. I mean, they're already on towards A. Dashy, at range. Dealt with by a Beezy, and now Draza can actually just get into a kind of a 1-for-1 position, but he gets read and dealt with. So the extra resource not going to get tallied here for FaZe, and the first tick of progress on top of that does not get completed. So focus for FaZe goes back towards B.
Yeah, that's tough. Because Draza was definitely looking for that 1 kill, but wasn't expecting that many players from OpTic Texas still in their base. As the first segment is potentially going to come in over towards this B point, but OpTic Texas are right now just solely focused on taking down Simp. There's no trophy system in towards the B point. Pred over the top is able to eliminate him from that positioning, and Shotzi is already in the spawn. 38 and 25. Now you have to get past this young man. Wow.
Well done, Draza. Good clean shots coming through. Even life count. Only 1 tick tallied at B. Kenny slipping forward, catches a Beezy completely off guard, and the OpTic defense is in prime position for this next opportunity for a hold. Lots of work needs to be done here for Atlanta. May start with Cell. He's just lingering up mid-map. Pred trying to do the same thing on the other side, but kills for Atlanta are pretty decent. Pred's the only one to collect, and the clock will stop at 38 with 2 members on for FaZe.
Yeah, 20 to 20 in lives remaining. 2 players on the point, like you said, but Shotzi is at least able to take down 1. So now you know where is the Beezy at. He does find a kill up through the B Street side, but that's going to be 3 dead in the fade for OpTic Texas. This might be a moment where you have to try to invest 1 cruise missile to at least allow your teammates to get out of the spawn.
Yep, that's exactly what's going to happen. Shots is going to call it as soon as he pops up. 3rd tick of progress was on the way. Everyone backs off the zone. Cell stays alive behind part of the propane tank, but if Easy does drop down to 20 seconds on the clock. Draza and Cell, one of the last 2 left that could possibly make some motion happen, and actually Simp is going to sneak on towards A to stop the clock there instead, hoping that maybe Cellium can isolate this 1v1 and then try to finish the progress over towards B, which he gets the isolation he wants, but the gunfight isn't clean. Has to reset. Pred on the chase finds the kill, but progress from Simp is still going completely unchecked. Eventually they get the kill. Draza on the other zone, able to get just enough help for the extra 60 to get tallied, and now FaZe have a 4 life lead and a minute 15 to play with.
This is where it gets scary, because if you're OpTic Texas, you got to try to invest this cruise now. And that's exactly what Pred is going to do, but do not read the play out of Draza working his way underground on the deep pinch. That second segment is going to be complete. You're able to take Atlanta FaZe off for a little bit, but the triple stack is here.
Can they get here to touch in time? The contest is over. Cell, 1v3 situation denied. Now down to Draza versus Dashy. Oh, what a save. Not done yet, though. No more respawns for OpTic. 4v8 situation. 3rd tick of progress fully depleted. OpTic cleanly get out of spawn and also clear Beezy off the high ground, and Atlanta are going to take their time and try to reset.
But OpTic Texas so far maintaining a lot of the map control. They're also finding all the kills. Was a 4v8, is now a 3v5. We've seen them clutch up 3v11s. Can they try to clutch up this one? No more respawns now for Atlanta.
Everyone's playing on an island if you're OpTic. Can you catch this Atlanta offense a bit by surprise? Pred seems to say yes, and what a light up he's had in these last 2 rounds. Pistol nearly locks on in time, but the 3v2, 23 seconds on the clock. Shotzi sniffing pixels, sees both, Just comes down to when does he want to pop up. It's him versus the world in this 1v3. First one, tally cleanly, pistol out, wants a BZ at range, slips around, but they're on the zone. Both players are there. Shotzzy doesn't have a lot of time, also doesn't have a lot of ammunition, needs to clear off the zone. He gets on for the contest and only finds the first. Atlanta find the final kill and take away the round 5 offense to steal away the control.
Oh man, if you're Atlanta FaZe, you're feeling great, but if you're OpTic Texas, that's 2 maps in a row now where you were set up for the W. Yeah, we gotta lean back a little bit, scratch your head, put your face to the, I don't know, man, that's just demoralizing. They were outslaying on the defensive end. You get defensive round number 5, you have 2 cruise missiles to work with, but Atlanta FaZe again find that clutch factor in those final moments, withstand both cruises, outslay the hell out of OpTic Texas in that final round, and even when it went down to the wire, they were able to sniff out the players from OpTic Texas, solo them out, and then turn it into a 2v1 for Shotzzy. I thought he found the timing, at least through top heli, but he knew it was the double stack was there, so we had to play that one quickly, and Atlanta FaZe are somehow, some way able to clutch up again in the nail-biter map against OpTic Texas. They always have photo finishes, but it's always Atlanta FaZe coming out on top. Now up 2-1 in the series, and you couldn't feel any better if you are Atlanta.
I mean, wow. And the thing about it was, there's another break off for Atlanta in the opening offense that did not really find much success.
Yeah.
You know, it's essentially a one-dimensional play. A BZ runs with Drazah. They want to get him to cruise, and it doesn't work out. And everything resets in favor of OpTic's defense. And then there's a moment in there where the round almost ends before it gets to the drama of the 1v3 at the B zone, where OpTic have gotten full control back at B, but Sip just stays alive forever on A. No one goes to check him, and he gets what, a tick and a half worth of progress for free at A, and how much of a difference maker that could have been, let alone the ability for Atlanta to recover off of their spawn and re-hit B to get the extra 60. Oh man, there's so many small micro moments in this one, but wow, we got a heater, Jay, between these 2 squads.
Oh yeah, what? Shotzzy puts up another 40 piece. Dashy was also slaying to hell alongside Pred. OpTic did everything right. It just came down to those final moments. Atlanta FaZe just a little bit more icy to close out the control. But that was another map where OpTic Texas haven't played it for 2 months. And you went all the way down to the wire. You definitely should have potentially walked away with the W. But at least you played Atlanta FaZe really close on one of their best control maps. But you want to be the team walking away with the W. Now you find yourself down 2-1 going into a Rio HP where Atlanta FaZe are the best. It's just as simple as that. They are the best team at Rio HP.
Yeah, not good. 4-0 overall. On average, they win 250 to around 180. So a near full hard point worth of time that gets in between Atlanta and whoever finds themselves squaring up on the other side of spawn. And on top of that, just a straight up demoralization that just happens right there, where OpTic looked like they're going to close out the defense at round 5, not once, not twice, maybe 3 times, doesn't come through. So gotta take a deep breath, gotta reset, and maybe lean onto the fact that Shotzzy's having himself a very uncharacteristic great series versus Atlanta FaZe team. What can he provide in terms of another spark for this OpTic team here in map 4?
Okay, they're playing great. Shotzzy and Dashy both average a 0.8 versus Atlanta FaZe, but they are definitely over a 1.0 so far in this series. It's just coming down to these final moments. In the S&D, you find 8 first bloods. Fortunately, you fall short. In the control, you have 2 cruise missiles in round number 5, and you fall short. But you can take a look at the numbers. 1.37 for Dashy. He hasn't done that all season long versus Atlanta. 1.15 for Shotzzy. They are just playing lights out right now. You just have to find those clutch moments at the end of these games to close out these maps.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for a lot of OpTic fans, it is rejuvenating a certain way to see these 2 guys stepping up to the table. But at the same rate, it also, again, other side of the sword is, what else do we have to do to beat these guys? I mean, our 2 bottom performers against FaZe are popping off. We still can't find ways to close out these tight maps. So, looking at the overall Rio season steps, again, it's pretty much perfect across the board for Atlanta. One of the best rotating, one of the best at holding, and they still find a lot of success breaking, which, to be fair, they don't have to do all that often. So, Lots to ask here if you're OpTic trying to respond and get this thing to a map 5.
And that's the crazy thing about it is that Atlanta FaZe in hardpoint specifically, they're not usually the best team on rotations and hold percentage. But on a map like Rio, when they are doing the fundamental part correctly, that's what makes them even more unstoppable. So if you are OpTic Texas, you have to run rotations. You have to set up properly to try to force this game 5.
Well, after the initial opening from OpTic was pretty calm and collected with the favored spawns, Atlanta's break, very polished, very clean, and they will not just match the tally from OpTic, they will surpass it with the opportunity to flip the map and find themselves in control for the favored sides towards P2. So great start here for FaZe. OpTic need to get themselves on the rails here and just keep things moving straight forward.
Yeah, they have to try to at least push through the old or overextend and try to flip these spawns. And so far, they're not finding any success up through the middle of the map. At least they're able to take down Draza before he earns that cruiser missile. But Atlanta FaZe with the gunny was able to reinforce their way back in towards P1, take a nice little 10-point lead, and now have the rotation over towards P2.
Thing is, OpTic have already made their way pretty close over towards the jump wall and this ramp. Team shot from Cell. Take one of the pictures of FaZe's defense out of it, and okay, neutral is not bad at all from the front here in the first 20 seconds for OpTic. In fact, they're gonna get Kenny in with numbers, and they also force Simp to spawn out. So critical moment here for OpTic early, but Atlanta find the kills off spawn, and the last one they need to tally is the one where they know exactly where he is. That's Kenny in the corner, and even though there was some good neutral time for OpTic, Atlanta will still come away with the majority of time here on 2.
Yeah, and that's just so difficult right there for your OpTic, because you find all the kills, so at least keep them off of the point when you don't have the preferred spawns. But when you take down Sip and he now spawns behind you, you get the read that players are coming from everywhere. And unfortunately, they cannot find any kills in the feed. So Atlanta FaZe able to walk away with this final 30. They're also able to flip the spawns over towards P3. And now OpTic Texas have a lot of ground to make up.
Yeah, Sellium watching towards the old time. We'll make sure there's no long routes taken here in the bottom. Abizi will just throw shoulders over this corner, make sure the windows stay safe, which means that OpTic will either have to work through him or force their way down through the staircase. Definitely not an opportunity that you would think Atlanta will miss out on. And the kills are being collected and tallied very cleanly. Abizi even gets a read on the last and Dashy, which he does at least keep his life a little while longer, but can't turn it into anything more than just the first kill. And Atlanta continue to soak up time here on 3.
Yeah, and OpTic Texas, they just can't find a way on in. Like Atlanta FaZe just way too strong on their setups. Trading efficiently around this P3. You're holding down your street side over towards Bridge as well. But finally, OpTic Texas with a couple of kills are able to relieve that pressure. Even though Atlanta FaZe still spawning in towards the back end, at least you don't give up a full 60. You should allow your teammates now to get fully set up towards the next.
Have to be able to hold this next push through, though, from Atlanta. We've got Pred on one side, Shotzi on the other, and as Pred drops, now it all rests largely with Shotzi towards Foxes. Both of your ARs will get over towards the railing, but there's just not enough eliminations coming through here for OpTic to stall out this roto from Atlanta FaZe. And finally, a couple of trades are back and forth, but Draza, last one standing, can't make the pistol go his way. Simp trying to follow up. Does he get both? Doesn't need to. It's Abizi behind, and Atlanta will open up the hard point.
This is getting nasty, Allen. Atlanta FaZe, even when they're late off the rotation, they're finding Brick early on into this HP. And now you're continuously putting OpTic on the back foot. They're now trying to bake again with only 30 seconds left. You can't hit the rotation now. You have to try to fight this time, and Sip is making you pay time and time again. 12 and 8 all ready to start this one off. The trade is going to be there for Draza, but Atlanta FaZe with this final 20 are going to find themselves already up by 100. OpTic Texas, a long road ahead to try to get back into this game.
Yeah. And if you're OpTic, you need to take a breath, get yourself set up, and start to get something positive to get your mojo back, because at the moment, it is all FaZe all the time. Shotzi, well done through mid-map. Simp, the only one to collect a kill, and this is exactly what the doctor ordered. Now it's just down to the follow-up. Atlanta, very predictably going to be spawning on the left side of the map. OpTic should be aware of this, but they've kind of missed Cell, and he can just hold this spot, win out the middle of the map plus extra, and that's enough to deter a lot of this OpTic setup. Here comes FaZe, first back off spawn. OpTic trying to hold from inside the hill. It's essentially a 2v4, and well, Simp will at least neutralize. Not a bad moment, but OpTic still holding on strong.
Yeah, OpTic still doing a great job of just maintaining map control over towards Bridge side, not allowing Atlanta FaZe to even step in towards the HP. Great shots from both the main ARs on both sides, but it's Dash able to come out on top in that engagement. Now OpTic Texas slowly but surely starting to climb their way back into this game. They needed a response at the Bridge Hill, but you're still down by 60. A lot more that you have to cover. It has to be the rotation over towards P1, and right now they have a lot of mid-map control, especially over towards Bridge.
Draza gets the trophy system down. Support from Simp wasn't enough, but it may not matter. Draza now on 18 and 8, 4 in a row again. Abizi there to help with the team shots on to Pred, and Atlanta will hold the numbers right on top of the hard point with Draza finding kill number 5. He's gonna get an isolated 1v1 potentially, bottom side P5. He's got to read that Kenny's nearby. This is for the cruise missile. A pivotal one, but Pred beats him to the punch, and at least some of the wound gets cauterized, but Texas still have work to do to clear out the hard point, which they do in a fell swoop.
Yeah, Draza's still showing why he dominates OpTic. He said it in his interview after Major 2, but it's already sitting at 19 and 9. This has a number so far on these guys as they still find themselves up by 80, but OpTic Texas is trying to at least walk away with this remaining 15. Instantly gets broken, and you already have a player in the BZ off the rotation to next.
He doesn't see Shotzi though, so maybe a chance as Shotzi realizes he's in a very key position. Stun comes through. That's enough for him to isolate onto Draza. Help from the front also there just in the nick of time. Simp red on the back line doesn't make a difference, and that's enough likely to at least block spawns, if not maybe win them for Atlanta. Draza off the pinch, nearly takes down 2 of his own. OpTic still hanging around though. A long route here from FaZe isn't even enough for them to guarantee spawn, so now OpTic have the numbers over the hot dog card, and that's enough for Kenny to win the gunfight and give OpTic another lease on life.
Yeah, and they need this 40 to get back into this game. They were able to flip the spawns as well, so Atlanta FaZe are at least going to do a great job of investing those tacks over the top, try to take them over this time as much as they possibly could, but you can already see the route coming in from Shotzi. Just taking the step ahead, re-wrapping through boxes, and potentially is going to spawn Atlanta FaZe out. No, they're still going to spawn it towards the back, so you still have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, 3 of the 4 will spawn in. Kenny gets 1 after being stunned, nothing more. So now it's just on to Pred to hold his life, which Cell beats him with the pistol. Unreal stuff. But the scrap time fully earned, and Kenny will actually get all the way around the back just to hold and play his life. Help on the way now for Texas as Kenny will catch Draza a bit off guard in the rotation. Clean shots towards Simp. Trade should surely be here, and it's a laborious one, but eventually does get tallied. Shotzi not done yet on 1 HP. Gets himself 2, and OpTic win the rotation to 3.
They're starting to fight back, man. The P2 to P3 chain now only down by 40 points. OpTic Texas have flipped this game on its head. Atlanta FaZe not forced to try to find a break on in. You have players approaching through boxes, players trying to attack up the middle and also through bridge. So they're trying to hit every single route, but OpTic Texas have gotten a read on it to perfection. Where were they down 100? Now it's only a 20-point difference. Shotzi now finds himself on 5 in a row. All the kill feed is going to be green. And now OpTic Texas winning the rotation fights again, this time over towards P4.
2 to 3 is good. Can 3 to 4 also be collected? Atlanta not so fast, they say. Clean shots coming out plus the stun locks Shotzi in place. Dashy still a little bit of a scuffle with selling him over the last 3 seconds, which he wins, but Atlanta will get onto the hard point initially. Spawn out for selling him deep over towards the backside at P2. Here come OpTic, knowing they've got an advantage and an opportunity to try to break this hard point open, but the kills just simply put are not there. Kenny has to keep his head in a swivel, just trying to predict which angle Simp's gonna chail him on, and he picks wrong. Atlanta will win the rotation and a chance to regrow their lead.
And this is where if you were Shotzi, you were on a 5 spree. It came down to a 1-on-1 between him and Draza. You're gonna potentially earn a cruise missile to find a break on towards P4. But now Atlanta FaZe are not slowing down. They are trading efficiently over towards the white van, but it's OpTic Texas currently in the lead in the kill department. They're able to find a break, but with only 20 seconds left, looks like we're gonna have another photo finish of a hard point between these two teams.
And Atlanta are still, they're gonna have to commit to try to play off this old time here with these 2 members that are standing. Draza doing what he can, but he gets taken down, no worries. Cell on rotation. Able to win a key versus pistol fight versus Dashy. Abizi, mid-map. Hasn't had a particularly great game to this point in the kill feed, but this could be a big one, and okay, that's a little bit of extra clearance here for Atlanta. They're gonna get past the 200-point mark.
And they can win it here at the Bridge Hill, but you're not expecting them to walk away with a full 50 seconds on this hill. So if you're OpTic Texas, you just have to find a way on in. Eventually tax off the spawn, blow up those trophy systems, and try to take somewhat control of the bridge. Wow. But it's Kenny finding a triple. Abizi, last player up, simply has to play his life to give his team another opportunity to find a break.
OpTic on the chase, it's Pred. Right back through mid, collects the kill. It's a huge staggered respawn as well. OpTic gonna surely get past the 200-point mark. Kenny just trying to hold on to this pillar for dear life. Dashy, Pred helping over the top of this hard point. And a chance not just for OpTic to take the lead, They could also win this rotation. BZ trying to meet them right over the top of P1. This guy's a little bit of an awkward mantle over the bench. And Simp also dealt with. Here we go. OpTic's going to finalize the scrap and move right on in towards P1.
And they're going to be fully set up as well. Every single player from OpTic Texas is currently sitting around the middle of the map. The lead change is finally going to come in. OpTic Texas had 2 demoralizing maps, but they are not worried about it. They're trying to force this game number 5. And Pred with the snap is able to find himself on 2 in a row. But here comes the pitch from Simp. Always somehow, someway finds the timing, finds 3 in a row. Atlanta FaZe get the break.
They've got the numbers. Cell is watching to the outside just to make sure no one hits the OE, which OpTic seem like they're trying to do. So tall moment here. OpTic need to find a way to break on in. They deal with Cellium very quickly. Simp looking to get forward. Denied over the top of the staircase. Now OpTic with numbers. Team nade comes out from a BZ. Should surely be a break plus more. Atlanta will still spawn on the right side of the map, which is preferred with 3 of their 4 members. But Shotzi, another massive opportunity for him to foil the setup of FaZe by himself. Tucked in a corner by Gate, which draws and gets the read on. OpTic can't win here. Atlanta are set up for new.
And that's a perfect rotation because Cellium was able to catch a double off the back end of everyone from OpTic Texas trying to hit the overextension, but it's 241 to 241. OpTic have a couple plays through the back end. Atlanta FaZe get a read on it. They only need 5 to close out this series.
Got a touch. Shotzi from one side, Pred from the other. There goes the clearance around the hard point. They need a... Oh! And they can't find the kill. Cell steps up through ramp, finds the initial damage and the finish on the last member of OpTic in the hopes of OpTic Texas to send this to a map 5 and in a number of wild ways as Atlanta continue to run through the green wall full steam ahead.
Every single time we watch these 2 teams play, it's never a blowout map. The final 3 maps was very, very close. 6-4 search and destroy. Round 5 in the control, but 241 to 250. Atlanta FaZe just clutching up again in the final moments of this game. I thought OpTic Texas played it great. You did a phenomenal job at that bridge hill. You were able to finally get a lead change going in towards P1. But then off the rotation, Atlanta FaZe knew we just had to play it super slow. Cellium was watching the super overextension over through the bridge side. He's able to find a double. And then even with Shotzi hitting that early rotation over towards P2, over towards the gate area, when 2 of his teammates fall, he knows he now has to try to go Superman. And unfortunately, he was not able to find anything. Atlanta FaZe were able again to clutch up in the final moments. It almost got scary though because they were up by 100. OpTic started to fight back, but Atlanta FaZe again with the clutch gene, able to close out the series in 4 and keep that record versus OpTic Texas flawless, now at 6-0.
That's unreal. But I mean, again, I think from both sides' perspectives, obviously FaZe fans can walk away super happy because they continue to dominate the green wall. But on the other side, do you take away small monikers of success here for OpTic? We pull away your first ever go on 6-star hardpoint. You played the map well. Your high-rise search and destroy, you went 8-2 in first blood.